snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Cars priced right both day and night. And Richard Car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. And Richard Car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. And Richard Car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. And Richard Car in Waco, Texas.
9 years ago today, I weighed 277.5 pounds with nearly 50% body fat. I was terribly out of shape, felt miserable, and struggled walking up a flight of stairs. Every morning I'd wake up, wonder if my pants would fit, or were my XXX shirts large enough. 9 years ago today, I was introduced to Christy London at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, and somehow, as a personal trainer, she took on the challenge of training me. I'd been through this before, fin, fat blockers, whatever else was on the market, lose a little weight, and 6 weeks later, I would quit. Today, I weigh 190 pounds. I have, give or take a pound or two, remained well under 200 pounds for 4 or 5 years. And because of almost every single morning run or workout, my diet is better because it has to be. I want it to be, and it is. Christy once told me you cannot out-exercise your diet. And a 5-mile run this morning compared to huffing and puffing to walk a block is quite the change. If you are where I was 9 years ago, if you've all but given up on losing any amount of weight, if you've all but given up on ever being in shape or fit again, regardless of your age, don't. Join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness and change your mindset. They have state-of-the-art exercise equipment, free weights, numerous classes, amazing amenities to help you, and personal trainers including Randall, Alex, and Christy. Plus a tremendous tennis program for youth and adult, and 8 pickleball courts, and how much that sport has exploded. Reach inside your competitive soul. Start today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Grayson Grundhafer, Sikkim365.com recruiting analyst, co-host of the Bearcast with Craig. They do that Tuesdays up on the site and social media. Soon afterwards joins us Sikkim 365 Radio. Lady Bears, Baylor women's basketball team up 9 over Hawaii with 6 seconds to go in the first half over at the Farrell Center. Winner will get South Dakota. Grayson, I saw you, and you got to help me here, but I saw you tweeting different information. Was it an Under Armour or was there some sort of a camp or event, and you were seeing different, measurements, et cetera?
Yeah, different recruits out at Under Armour camp at Arlington Martin High School. Got to see a lot of, the top prospects in the nation go out there and compete. Got to see Austin Novosad, the quarterback commit in the 2022 class. So got to see him, or 2023 class. And so, it was a really good event, really good day. Nice to have a camp. It's been a little bit since there was a full-on camp like that. So, it was nice to see some of the talent around the state.
Grayson, what did you think of Baylor yesterday? What do you think of the UNC matchup coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, guys, North Carolina looked really, really good yesterday, which really isn't surprising. They've been playing good basketball. They've kind of been up and down. Their offense is great. So, they're going to be able to score. So Baylor's going to have to find a way to score as well and to get stops. But what I will say is Baylor played really well in this first game. Now, I will say this. Norfolk State was missing their second leading scorer for the first half, and then he basically didn't play in the second half either. He played 2 minutes in the entire game, and frankly, when a school like that loses a player of that significance, it's just not going to be a good day. And Baylor took advantage of that, and Baylor was able to jump on them early. They shot the three-point ball really well, which I think is going to be important in this tournament. They shot 40% from 3, which was encouraging. And then, the play of Matthew Meyer and James Akinjo, Jeremy Sohan as well, but Akinjo and Meyer in particular, they really need both of those guys to play really well in this tournament, and they both looked fantastic in this first game. James Akinjo looked so quick. He was getting in the lane whenever he wanted, passing the ball extremely well. So I was impressed. It's a great first-round performance, but they're definitely going to get tested against North Carolina. That's a really, really good team. But on the flip side, I think Baylor's ready for this. And if I've learned anything over the past, few days of the tournament, it's that the Big 12 is for real. And, you look at what Baylor did, what Kansas did, what Texas Tech did today. Those three teams look spectacular in their first game. We'll see how they do throughout the tournament. But they really handled their business, whereas some other schools did not.
How much or how wide did your eyes get as that Kentucky game ended last night, and knowing obviously the effects that has on Baylor's side of the bracket?
Yeah, and that wasn't the only game either. That UCLA game, I was staring at that one as well. Both of those games were just down to the wire. I was stunned at I could not believe Kentucky lost that game. Oscar Tshiebwe did everything he could for them to win that game, but their guards just played terrible. They were not making shots. They were not taking care of the ball. They honestly just did not look like they cared, which is really just shocking at this point in the season. But yeah, congrats St. Peter's. That's one of the bigger upsets I've ever seen, to be honest. I know it's not a 1 versus 16, but Kentucky, a lot of people had them winning the championship or in the Final Four, and they lost to a team that, frankly, I don't see any pros on that court. It's not like when Duke lost to Lehigh, many years ago where C.J. McCollum was on that team. And as we know, C.J.'s a multi-time All-Star. So, just a really shocking performance by Kentucky. And as far as UCLA goes, they survived barely as well. They got a late run and were able to seal the deal there, or else Baylor's path would be very, very clear to the Elite Eight at least.
Yeah, no, you look at everything about St. Peter's. Budget, coaching staff budget, facilities, where they play. God bless them. And it's why Grayson every single year. Now today's gone according to plan from start to finish so far, but it is why this is the greatest, perhaps, event or first day or two of an event in sports.
Yeah, I agree with you. Does it get any better than this? With all these games at the same time, it's just so cool to watch. You got guys playing really, really hard, trying to pull off these big upsets. And, for a lot of these schools, they haven't won anything in the tournament. So this is really making history for a school like St. Peter's. It's really, really fun to see. And, honestly, I know today's been quiet, but as you look down the list at some of these games, Chattanooga versus Illinois, UAB versus Houston, Davidson versus Michigan State, even Colgate versus Wisconsin, I think there's going to be some fireworks later on today. And that, if we've learned anything from the first day, it's that no team can take a game for granted. So I'm sure we'll see some fireworks tonight.
Grayson, finally got a spring ball date in. Looks like we're starting next week. So right around the corner.
Yeah, I know. Finally, we've been waiting on this, and we talked about it a little bit, on the Bearcast, just kind of waiting for the dates and the times to finally come out. So that's really exciting. Baylor getting ready to get spring ball going, and that kind of leads me into kind of one thing I did want to bring up today is that Baylor did put out an offer to a transfer defensive lineman / outside linebacker at Jack in DJ Coleman at Jacksonville State. So it's clear that even though spring ball's ramping up and, we're getting closer and closer to the summer, this Baylor staff is still working on trying to add talent to the current roster. And so a new offer to DJ Coleman at Jacksonville State, I think, is a very interesting way to start. And I think we're going to see them continue to be aggressive in the portal throughout the spring and then into the summer as well.
Do you feel like if they do add more from the portal, it'll be like equal offense, defense, or do you feel like it might be more on one side of the football?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they definitely want a pass rusher, and I think they definitely would like to get a cornerback. Now, I think cornerback is a little bit more up in the air because you got young guys that they're trying to see, what kind of talent they have during spring ball. But pass rushing, I think you kind of know what you have there. And I think they would like to add another one to the fold, and that's why you probably saw this offer go out yesterday. So I could see them taking maybe two on the defensive side. But offensively, I think it's really going to come down to the talent that enters the portal, because I do think that they could upgrade at running back. They got really good talent, but they're young and unproven. And then also at wide receiver, those are two positions that I could definitely see them addressing. I kind of doubt they go after the offensive line just because I feel like they have a good option with Micah Mascua or Gavin Byers. But you never know. Maybe they want to get even older on the offensive line. But yeah, so I think it could be equal, but I do think the offense will be a slightly bigger focus, even though I don't see them taking, an infinite amount of transfers, but I think they'll probably take a few.
Grayson, I know we don't normally talk about the NFL in this segment, but you're a big NFL guy. What do you think about Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, shocking, right? I mean, one of the most shocking things I've ever seen is he, told Carolina and Cleveland he was out, he was done, he wasn't going there. And Atlanta and New Orleans, I have a buddy who is just blowing up my phone because he's a Saints fan. And man, did they get hoodwinked. I mean, my goodness, Cleveland just kept grinding, kept staying in contact with him. And so they're able to get him. It's a great move by Cleveland. They really need a quarterback. It's the first time in years that they really have solidified that position with an elite talent. And so now, yeah, looking ahead, I mean, the AFC, the quarterbacks there, I mean, it's a gauntlet. And it's going to be fascinating to see how these teams adjust to having a great quarterback and adjusting to the talent that they're going to play every single week. I'm also a huge Colts fan, so the big implication there is if Baker Mayfield ends up being a Colt after this trade for Deshaun Watson.
So I'm guessing you don't think Baker Mayfield's very good?
Gosh, we always do this with our teams, right? Especially in the NFL. I have done as much research as possible, and I think I've talked myself into Baker Mayfield being a pretty decent quarterback. And my only reason for it is I compared his first 4 years in Cleveland to Drew Brees' first 5 years in San Diego, and they're very similar, guys. They're very similar. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Drew Brees. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but there are some similarities there, and he was on a really bad franchise in Cleveland. And so who knows? Maybe he goes to a new spot, gets himself together, and is able to be really, really effective. But, I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback, but I think he can be a top 15 guy.
Thank you, Grayson. Appreciate it. Grayson Grunhafer, Fridays at 3:45 with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. We're going to come back and discuss UCLA. Last night, their win against Akron with Ben Bolch. He'll join us here pretty soon. Also, of course, at 4:30, we'll discuss North Carolina, that matchup with Baylor with Adam Lucas, our good friend from GoHeels.com. Paul's Top 5 at the end of the show, but much to get to. Sikkim 365 Radio. Massey Meditation Grove. The Massey Meditation Grove, dedicated in memory of Rondell and Mildred Massey, lifelong residents of Waco. And there's a trail that allows you to just kind of walk and run or both and take your time enjoying life. The grove features Mexican maple trees, pecan trees, and live oaks. There's hike and bike trails outside of that as well around the city of Woodway. You can go to discoverwoodway.com for more information. And then, of course, they have gardens, the Whitehall Tourist and Community Center, Monarch Butterfly Way Station, the Arboretum Explorers, and by the way, they have the Carling Bright Arboretum, where you can host events up to 360 to maybe a little bit more, and they allow outside caterers to do the event if you are feeding anyone. Banquet, galas, fundraisers, all of the above, weddings, rehearsals, all of that. It's the Carling Bright Arboretum and Discover Woodway, with also several hotels not far from the Baylor campus or Magnolia or downtown Waco at discoverwoodway.com.
At Allen Samuels, come see the Wagoneer Series 2 and 3 with 2.9% for 72 months plus $1,500 in bonus cash. For all first responders, get an extra $500. Shop this incredible vehicle that gives you performance, style, perfect for your family, and reliability your family deserves today from Allen Samuels in Waco. Come shop our huge inventory at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
You know what would make this moment better? Pizza. Dough made from scratch and an Italian family sauce recipe pizza. 3 fresh signature cheeses making a melty blanket of perfection pizza. Like loads of premium toppings like crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, and fresh sliced veggies pizza. That's Marco's Pizza. Visit marcos.com and make any moment better. And with 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strips, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Ball's popping well for Baylor early. Kinjo can't hit that. Here's Flagler. And we are on the board as Flagler gets the scoring started.
Our coverage of the NCAA tournament is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Automatic Chef and Canteen, Edward Jones Investments, IdealMRI.com, Marco's Pizza, The Nichi Group, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, and the Willis Law Firm. Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Texas and Virginia Tech early on, 18 apiece. Virginia Tech's offense struggling against that UT defense. They forced 4 turnovers, and so that game is early on in, of course, the East region as well. We're now joined by Ben Bolch. He joins us. The LA Times covers UCLA. Ben, thanks for your time. How dicey was it getting? And after the Kentucky shocker yesterday evening, how much was maybe UCLA, or how much were the fans at UCLA starting to sweat?
Oh, it was really dire. You know, down 8 with with less than 8 minutes to play, getting outplayed in pretty much every facet, really struggling with the quickness and fearlessness of Akron last night. I mean, I'll be honest, I thought they were headed for a loss. So, yeah, it was about as scary as you could get if you're a UCLA fan.
Ben, do you expect to see this UCLA offense struggle like it did last night against St. Mary's?
No, I think I think St. Mary's is a quality team, but they don't have quite the quickness. They've got a little bit better length than Akron did. But the two things that have been UCLA's kryptonite have been quick teams like Akron and really tall teams like Arizona. So St. Mary's doesn't really fit into either of those molds. So I think we'll see a better showing. And let's face it, UCLA also just missed a lot of shots that they normally make last night. So I think UCLA will have a much better showing at St. Mary's.
How much was, and it's UCLA, for God's sakes, they're the best of all time when it comes to winning national championships, although not as many of late because not many people have that kind of stretch. Nobody's ever had the stretch of Coach Wooden. But my question is, Coach Wooden, how much pressure was there on this team because of the run they made, the game with Gonzaga, everyone coming back, and then also matching that?
Yeah, I think that there was, a little bit of tendency to maybe be a little bit tight. They certainly were not playing a loose brand of basketball last night. But on the flip side, they had the experience of being in so many close games and knowing what it takes to win in those moments. And that's what really allowed them to prevail in the second half when things got really kind of dicey. They made the plays they needed to. Tiger Campbell stepped up huge with 8 of their last 10 points.
Do you, and again, Johnny Juzang didn't have his classic night last night, and percentage-wise, he's going to get right because he's just fantastic.
Well, I don't know that you can assume that. I think if you're a UCLA fan, you're hoping to see that, but he hasn't really hit a good rhythm since he went down with that sprained ankle late season against Oregon, missed about 2.5 games, and really has not found his shooting rhythm since he's come back. So if they can get that from him, that will kind of take them to the next level, and they're going to need that against a team like St. Mary's that plays really disciplined basketball, really smart basketball.
What did UCLA learn about themselves last night, if anything?
I think that they learned that you can't take anything for granted. The one thing that was unusual for them last night was that they were a heavy favorite, and that's the first time that that's happened in the NCAA tournament under Mick Cronin. And I think that they did come out a little bit flat, but all credit to Akron. They played a tremendous game. But I think that, UCLA learned that, if you're the favorite, you can't take anything for granted. But, going forward, it's almost a pick-em game with St. Mary's, and it'll probably be that way, or UCLA might be the underdog after that. So that scenario is probably out the window.
What was the reaction? And I know they were about to take care of their only business, and there's kind of known this East region as the Blue Bloods with North Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA, defending national champion Baylor, among some others. What was the reaction around the arena when that Kentucky story came out?
Oh, it was awesome. It was actually pretty funny because they were showing the game on the video board during the Indiana St. Mary's game and during timeouts. And then when they came back to the actual footage of the game going on, people were booing because they were so into the St. Peter's Kentucky game. And then, it finished right when UCLA was warming up, and that was some of the loudest cheering of the night. It was really amazing, and that's one of my favorite things about March Madness is moments like that when people on the other side of the country watching a game kind of get really excited and come together for a moment like that. It was a lot of fun.
When looking at that region with the teams I mentioned, was there the same respect from UCLA fans? They were at the Final Four in Indianapolis when they played Gonzaga. Baylor eventually hammered Gonzaga. Is there that same respect from a UCLA for what Baylor's done and who they are?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, defending national champion, you don't have to sell yourself in any way, I think. So, I think that when they saw that bracket, there was probably a little bit of relief in some quarters, but just matchup-wise, because Arizona, as I mentioned, has that length that's kind of tough for UCLA, and then Gonzaga has already beaten them twice in a year span. But certainly Baylor, is right in that mix, and it would be they would have their full attention. I'll just put it that way.
Ben, we appreciate it. Thanks for your time. UCLA advances with that win against Akron, or late game last night. We appreciate your time. St. Mary's is coming up next.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ben Bolts. Los Angeles Times covers UCLA. We'll have our friend Adam Lucas, who covers North Carolina, and is Armstrong Sims' best buddy, along with, by the way, Armstrong sent me a number for Eric Montross, one of the great players in North Carolina history. Couldn't do it because of some of the things that he's radio, but also some of the commitments he had. But maybe if they were to advance this weekend, we could get him on next week. Of course, Baylor fans hope that's not the case.
I'm going to ask Eric Montross what he thinks about Armstrong saying that Tyler Hansbrough is way better than he was and could ever hope to be.
I heard him say that. Yeah, I heard him say that.
Hey, young man.
Whatever happened to Tyler Hansbrough? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like that's a name that that's a March Madness name right there, is it not? You think of Adam Morrison and Tyler Hansbrough, God Shamgod. Yep. I mean, there's a list of legends. I'm curious to see who it's going to be this year. St. Mary's is, a team that we're going to be talking about coming out of this tournament, regardless of what they do in the next round, because of that Kentucky win. That was just so massive. But, it's going to be cool to see, who are some of the names that we know far better once this tournament is over than maybe we knew before the tournament started.
I think if you look at players who carried their teams on their shoulders into a Final Four, obviously when UCLA was going through that magical stretch under John Wooden, Bill Walton, Sidney Wicks, Lou Alcindor, they had just so many. But Carmelo Anthony, when he was at Syracuse, truly took a team on his back, on his shoulders, took them to a championship. Not that he's the only one. There's no question. Who's the kid from UConn? Was it UConn or Villanova?
Kimball Walker?
Walker. Yeah, he did something very similar as well. Craig? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
I was going to bring up that the Baylor women are now up 17, it looks like. Nalissa Smith just got a bucket about a minute ago. I hadn't seen an updated score in the last few seconds, but 49-32 last I looked.
Yeah, they had an 11-3 start to start the third quarter. They will get South Dakota if they hang on and take care of business, as they're expected to do, up by just 9 at halftime, but they popped it open now to 17, and it's good to see. Nalissa had 0 for 2 early. Queen Egbo, who Jack McKenzie wrote a story about, Baylor inside player, that when they win, she plays well. Or when she plays well, they win no matter what, even games when they should, whether she doesn't. When they have lost, her numbers and stats have not been good. And so that's the early game.
Mostly foul trouble.
Yeah, and foul trouble has a lot to do with it. She has 10 points and 7 rebounds already.
Hawaii apparently has a pretty good three-point shooter that was hitting some buckets early. I mean, obviously can't watch it right now, but I'm just glad to see that they were able to create a little bit of separation. The longer you let teams hang around in this tournament, that's how you jump up and get bit. Not that I'm too worried about the Baylor women, but I also kind of am in some ways, because I've never seen Nikki Collin coach in this tournament. As good as they finished the year, and I know that it's very lopsided in terms of who does and who does not have, certain levels of talent. So Baylor just by default should be a Sweet 16 team, in my opinion, in many ways, just, pedigree and whatnot. But
and at home.
And at home. And, so I would expect that. But, you don't know until you know. And so I'm just saying it's good to see them start to get a little bit of a lead and hopefully not have to sweat this one all the way to the end.
Amy Atwell's the one who's hit 4 threes for Hawaii. Again, they're playing Baylor. Baylor up in control of that game. And again, the winner will get South Dakota on Sunday. Now, when we come back, we're going to hear from Adam Lucas. First of all, we're going to hear from Armstrong. Is your microphone hot? Is it on? Armstrong, who's there yesterday with us. Hey, we're going to be at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Now, the doors aren't open, but they'll be open for us at Railhead Smokehouse Barbecue for a pregame at 9:30. And then Ashley Hodge is going to host a postgame soon after the game. Baylor and Carolina, regardless. Whoever wins that game, he'll do about an hour. And Armstrong will be there tomorrow. Paul will be there tomorrow. Jack as well. So, transparency, buddy.
Mm-hmm. What's the question?
You're a Tar Heel fan, right? There's nothing wrong with admitting that. I mean, is this awkward for you?
No.
We saw 2 Simses yesterday
in their Carolina gear.
Not in their Baylor gear to support
Papa,
their beloved son and brother.
Well, no. I mean, Tar Heel born, Tar Heel bred.
No, I get it. No, I understand that. Paul,
But-
many times has said if Florida State and Baylor were to play, we understand.
But I'm cheering for Baylor, obviously. I mean, I've been a North Carolina fan my whole life, but you go to Baylor and you go to a school for 4 years and
put money into that school.
Put money into it. Things change.
Yeah,
but I'm absolutely cheering for Baylor. But if North Carolina wins,
it's not going to be disappointing.
It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. Although for Baylor's program resume, a win over Carolina in the tournament would be incredible.
Yeah. The way I described it, I can't remember when it was, but a few years ago, A&M and Florida State played in something. And, I grew up an A&M fan because of my family. And somebody said, well, who are you rooting for? I'm like, Florida State. They're like, not rooting for A&M. I said, look, A&M is my childhood sweetheart. There's no doubt about that. We'll always have feelings. But Florida State's my wife. Like, that's who that's where I'm committed to. That's where my degree's from. That's where I spent my time. That's the place that, is responsible for this. So,
they're the reason.
Yeah,
they're the reason.
There you go. I mean, that's
Texas and Virginia Tech with 2 minutes to go in the half, 27 apiece. I would think that pace favors UT because of the defense that they play, and Virginia Tech likes to score. Who doesn't like to score? Everyone likes to score, but right now they're tied at 27. A couple minutes to go in that one. Yeah, you know what? It's going to be fun tomorrow. But Baylor's beaten Kentucky. They've beaten Syracuse. They've beaten Michigan State. They have beaten Blue Bloods along the way. Obviously, the national championship. I don't know if they played UCLA. Is there any kind of history with that?
Baylor and UCLA? I don't know.
And what was the last time? Is this with North Carolina? I have not gotten my game notes yet. I haven't looked at them yet. If I got them, I haven't looked at them yet. But, yeah, check them off. Check off the box, right? If it's a blue blood region and you're a part of that, you want to be a part of it, then go take care of those blue bloods, and it ought to be fun. That tomorrow with Kansas, Carolina, Baylor locally, that tomorrow could be like that. That's going to be packed the first session. 11-10 from the first game into the second game will be packed, as it should be. And I thought Baylor fans were great yesterday in showing up at that arena, Dickies Arena in Fort Worth.
And then I'm seeing that this is the first Baylor-Carolina matchup since 1949.
And was that the Final Four? That's in between the Final 4 years. They were in 48 and 50. They played because they played Kentucky in a championship game back in the day. Thanks for that. All right, when we come back, we're going to check in now on North Carolina with Adam Lucas, who covers the Tar Heels for GoHeels.com. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Ideal MRI that can help you find out what is bothering you. Your doctor has done all they can do, and they still don't quite know, and they want just a little bit more evidence from an MRI. And if they ask about an MRI, you suggest to them that you want to go to Ideal MRI in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco, just off I-35 on Loop 340 and Highway 60 exit road. It's a great place. I've been in it. I've been inside the state-of-the-art technology MRI machine. The Texan specialists are fantastic. Go to idealmri.com and ask your doctor to schedule an MRI. I've had my shoulder looked at. I've had my abdomen looked at. And and I can get a little bit claustrophobic. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Texan specialists that make me feel comfortable, but I've not had a problem inside the MRI machine, and sometimes you can get spooked. Maybe it's happened to you. They're fantastic, easy to set up. And by the way, you're not going to wait in line. You're not going to sit in this big room waiting for one name after another. You're going to get in, and they're also going to help you because their hours are flexible, not for their sake, but for your sake. Although, yes, it is a business. Dr. Rob Maxey, from the day one, title sponsor of this show, idealmri.com. 9 years ago today, I weighed 277.5 pounds with nearly 50% body fat. I was terribly out of shape, felt miserable, and struggled walking up a flight of stairs. Every morning I'd wake up, wonder if my pants would fit, or were my XX shirts large enough. 9 years ago today, I was introduced to Christy London at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, and somehow, as a personal trainer, she took on the challenge of training me. I'd been through this before, fin, fat blockers, whatever else was on the market, lose a little weight, and 6 weeks later, I would quit. Today, I weigh 190 pounds. I have, give or take a pound or two, remained well under 200 pounds for 4 or 5 years. And because of almost every single morning run or workout, my diet is better because it has to be. I want it to be, and it is. Christy once told me you cannot out-exercise your diet. And a 5-mile run this morning compared to huffing and puffing to walk a block is quite the change. If you are where I was 9 years ago, if you've all but given up on losing any amount of weight, if you've all but given up on ever being in shape or fit again, regardless of your age, don't. Join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness and change your mindset. They have state-of-the-art exercise equipment, free weights, numerous classes, amazing amenities to help you, and personal trainers including Randall, Alex, and Christy. Plus a tremendous tennis program for youth and adult, and 8 pickleball courts, and how much that sport has exploded. Reach inside your competitive soul. Start today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive. It's a staple of the Waco economy. And you're about to approach this time of the year where you have the holidays, special gifts. It's not that you don't have that every single day. What are some of the things you have coming up?
You know, we kind of call ourselves the wedding ring store. We do all of our own custom work in-house. I've got 2 expert jewelers on staff every day. We can make anything from scratch. We kind of pride ourselves, probably 9 out of 10 every engagement ring we do is actually made custom to what the customer wants.
People look at that, oh my God, I can't afford it. I can't afford something like that. You've shown me examples that you could fit pretty much any budget.
It doesn't cost any more to custom make something. You still have gold, you still have diamonds, and you still have labor. Best thing about a custom piece is if you have any old jewelry or heirloom jewelry or something passed down from a grandma or somebody, we can take that jewelry and use it towards your wedding ring for the sentimental value, and then you've got the product, and then it's just a little bit of labor and a little bit of design on your part of what you actually want.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Update you on a couple of games. Miami with a 4-point lead over Southern Cal with 30 seconds to go. Miami just turned it over in the backcourt. Texas and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech up 2. Texas try to set up a shot to maybe take the lead before the half there in that other game. Another game that, of course, in the same regional with UCLA, with Baylor, North Carolina, and Texas just did drain a 3 to take the lead by 1. We're now joined...
and then promptly fouled a guy coming down the court.
With 2 seconds to go in the half. By Adam Lucas, we've had him on before. GoHeels.com covers North Carolina. Adam, thanks for your time. How impressed were you with what North Carolina did to hammer Marquette last night or yesterday evening?
Well, there's no doubt that was a very impressive performance. That's probably one of the most complete games Carolina's played this year. I think it helped that Marquette wasn't great, at least not on that day. But the Tar Heels really shot it well. They really defended well. They shared the ball better than they have all season long, 29 assists on 34 field goals. That's not the Carolina we've seen all season. We've seen it sporadically, and yesterday was one of those times that we did.
What do you think about the matchup with Baylor coming up? What do you think their advantages are and their disadvantages?
Well, I mean, as I told you guys when we spoke a couple weeks ago, I mean, the thing about Baylor is that they're one of the best teams in the country. They were also very impressive in their game yesterday. They're just their size, seeing them in person. It's not just one guy you got to worry about. It's all 5 guys have really good size and athleticism, and then they bring some more off the bench. So I think that's going to certainly be a big test. I think can Caleb Love play the way he did yesterday, both distributing the ball and shooting the ball? We've seen some times this year where when Caleb has a good game, it gives him a little confidence, and then he goes out there and starts jacking them up at the next game, and they don't go in quite as often. So Tar Heels will need to avoid shooting themselves out of the game. Roy Williams always used to say, if you take a bad shot, that's just like a turnover because the other team grabs it and they're running out the other way. Carolina can't afford for Baylor to be able to do that.
I think everybody's pretty well aware by now of kind of the injury situation that Baylor's been dealing with over the last, several months. Do you think Carolina's depth is an advantage heading into this game?
Well, if so, then Baylor must be playing with 3 guys because Carolina's playing with 5.
Okay.
They're going to play their 5 guys. They might play Puff Johnson maybe 5 or 6 minutes, maybe. Dontrez Styles got in the game yesterday, but he had not played in the previous 3 games. So the Tar Heels are a 5-man team at this point, and they're going to get as many minutes as they possibly can out of those 5. Those 5 didn't come out of the game at all the second half at Duke, and that's the way it's been much of the year.
I saw this image on your timeline. Coach Davis on the fight versus Marquette. There are 3 kinds of people. Those who don't want to fight, those who do want to fight, and those who are looking for a fight. I want 17 guys in this locker room who are looking for a fight when we go out there. Is that the kind of they just have to play that way? Is that something they've been using most of the year?
I think that's something that Coach Davis is trying to instill, and I think it really started coming up after the loss at home to Pittsburgh, because I think Pittsburgh basically came out and decided they were going to push the Tar Heels around, and Carolina didn't really push back. And so since that time, Hubert Davis, who, as you know, played for the Knicks in the mid-'90s, so we're talking about like Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason and those guys, just wanted his team to be a little tougher. And I think they have been a little tougher since the Pitt game, but I do still think the book on Carolina is you push them around and see if they're willing to curl up and go away for you.
You know, there's no question that you have that region that was filled with North Carolina, UCLA, Kentucky. Kentucky's gone. What's been the reaction from Tar Heel fans that the Wildcats are no longer a part of this tournament?
Well, I think the Team Carolina fans really want to see Leave plays later on today. Once that team is eliminated, then Tar Heel fans can rest easily and enjoy the rest of the tournament. Certainly, I mean, it's that time of year, and St. Peter's played great, and all you got to do is play great for 40 minutes, and I think in some ways that's the way Carolina's looking at tomorrow. I think if Carolina and Baylor played 100 times, Baylor's going to win the majority of those games, but Tar Heels got to play great for 40 minutes and see what happens.
What is the floor for a successful season? Is it one round further than Duke?
I don't think it's quite like that. I think the floor probably already was reached with the win at Cameron. As we talked about before, that's the game that's never going to go away in the Carolina Duke rivalry. So now you turn to what can you do NCAA tournament wise. I think the Tar Heels had to win yesterday. I don't think you can go out in the first round and feel like you had a great season. Carolina did that last year. They went out in the first round and it was really disappointing. First time they had done that in the Roy Williams era, which is almost 20 years. So I think now you've won the game you really needed to, and that gives you the opportunity to play a really good team. And if you somehow happen to get a win in that game, then you feel great about yourself. But I think no matter what, you've got to compete. And there have been some games this year against really good teams where Carolina just hasn't competed, Kentucky being one of them. I mean, nobody would have thought after Carolina and Kentucky played in Las Vegas that Carolina would advance further in the NCAA tournament than Kentucky. But that's where we are right now.
Is North Carolina, they've obviously been at times erratic. Is what we saw yesterday the ceiling? I know that they play better people, Baylor tomorrow. But do you know what their ceiling is yet?
I think that was probably the best version of Carolina yesterday because you saw a team that shot the ball well from the outside, which this team has to do in order to be successful. You saw a team that really shared the ball well, which is something that's been a struggle sometimes this year. And you saw a team that was really able to utilize Leaky Black defensively. On the other team, Marquette, of course, had really one player that they were really concerned about offensively, and you could match Leaky Black up with him, and he took him out of the game almost totally. It was 2 for 15, Justin Lewis. So I think that's the best version of Carolina. No foul trouble. You don't have to use the bench. I mean, that's an ideal Carolina game, I think, at this point.
Their women's team, North Carolina women, are opening up the tournament, and they have been on and off. They, of course, have a nice history as well. What are your thoughts about who they are?
Yeah, they're out in Tucson. They're going to play tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, against Stephen F. Austin. And they've got a third-year head coach, Courtney Banghart, who seems to be a really impressive coach. Carolina got her from Princeton, and she's really done a good job with a program that had kind of gotten in a rut. And it appears as though she's got them on the way headed back. They were on the kind of the fringe of the hosting discussion this year. Got two key players who missed the entire season with ACL injuries. So I think they feel like if they have a full deck next year, and this current sophomore class this year will be juniors, I think that's the year they're really pointing towards. Is that's a let's contend for the Final Four type season.
One more thing, Adam. What is the future? What's North Carolina with the recruiting where Hubert Davis is trying to take them? Obviously, this is not over. They might get in the Sweet 16 tomorrow with the defending national champions Baylor at 11:10 Central. What is their future?
Yeah, it's so hard to know in college basketball these days because you're never quite sure who's coming back and you're never quite sure who's going to be coming in. Mm-hmm. I think Carolina thinks they might get Leaky Black back next year. He's a senior this year, but could come back again for his COVID year. I don't know if we'll ever be done with the COVID years. It might be 2035 and we'll still be talking about guys taking their COVID years. So I think he may come back. Armando Bacot's the big question. He's, of course, had a great season, but he's a junior, so he can come back next year. Got a 4-man recruiting class. One of them's already on campus practicing with the team. And then you just got to see who else leaves and goes. What does Caleb Love do? And then who do you find in the portal? Carolina found Brady Manick this year. And, I mean, he's been absolutely the ideal 100% perfect fit for exactly what Carolina wanted both on the court and off the court. Of course, Carolina also got Dawson Garcia in the portal, and he was a little less than 100% ideal. So you just never quite know exactly what you're going to get, and it really gives you two recruiting seasons. You've got the recruits you signed, and then you got the transfer portal recruits that Hubert Davis and his staff will have to start getting after here in the next few weeks.
Adam, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow in Fort Worth. Adam Lucas, GoHeels.com. North Carolina buried Marquette yesterday. Baylor and North Carolina tip it all off tomorrow in the Sweet 16 at 11:10.
Yeah, Miami beats USC. USC had a shot, a bank shot that went off the front of the rim that would have – I
won the game.
Yeah, I guess won the game.
Pretty good
I
angle,
see the
too,
final
yeah.
score, so I didn't know if it was a 2 or 3.
By 2, yeah.
Okay,
So,
well, that stinks. And you saw the slow motion replay of it, and that kid is just a half an inch away from being a March Madness hero, and instead it was disappointment for the Trojans. But yeah, Hurricanes do move on. So another one in the books.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Virginia Tech is lamenting the fact that Andrew Jones has been at Texas since 1996.
17 points, right? But it wasn't him who hit that shot.
No, it was Marcus Carr who hit the three-quarter court shot at the buzzer.
At least from the top of the key on the opposite side at the buzzer after Virginia Tech looked like they had a lead at halftime. He threw one in from about however amount of feet that might be, and Texas leads Virginia Tech by a couple at halftime, 34-32. Miami beats, as Craig said, Southern Cal by 2. Earlier today, Villanova 80, Delaware 60, Auburn by 19 over Jacksonville State. Purdue rolled past Yale 78-56. Texas Tech just hammered Montana State. They were up 27 at halftime, and they won by 35. Ohio State in a slugfest with Loyola Chicago, 54-41. Buckeyes win that one. And there are a couple of other games. Notre Dame, Alabama, early second half. And Notre Dame, the Irish, up by a couple on the Crimson Tide.
Baylor women are up 40, so that one's just a matter of the clock running out at this point. And they'll move on to the second round and play again, Sunday in Waco.
Yeah. Hawaii's probably just, perplexed that they're playing in a stadium that looks just like theirs except from the outside.
What's it like to travel to Waco and then turn right around after a day and a half and go back to Hawaii?
Probably fun.
The plane trip's a long way.
Yeah.
So.
34-8, Baylor outscored Hawaii in the third quarter. 34-8 after being up by kind of like you raise your eyebrows up by 9 at halftime and they blow their doors off 34-8. And already, as Craig mentioned, 82-41 with 6 minutes to go. The winner will get Baylor's going to get South Dakota on Sunday. All right, it's 4:40. When we come back, a couple of other notes in sports we'll look at. And a day, March Madness, day 2. 254-339-1122, the text line. I have not had a chance today as much as I'd like to get on the YouTube chat room. We'll do that next as well. Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, got a lot of great deals right now at Richard Carr on both new and pre-owned vehicles. March means 23 years in the automotive industry for Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, and in those 23 years, Richard Carr has sold the best cars and trucks on the road. Richard Carr wants to thank Waco and Central Texas for their patronage over the years, and they're looking forward to many more years to come. They've got new GMC trucks. They've got new Buick and Cadillac SUVs on the way. Richard Carr is seeing new vehicle arrivals each week, so now is the time to get your name on the inbound vehicle list so that once your vehicle arrives, you can drive on over to the dealership and scoop it up promptly and get into it as quickly as possible. It's time to get on that inbound vehicle list, and for qualified buyers, you can buy a truck now and get 0% financing for 72 months on most GMC vehicles and Buick SUVs. And summer vacation season is approaching. Going to go out to the amusement park with kids or go visit family on the coast or whatever it is you may be doing. Well, you want to have a safe ride while you're traveling across this great country of ours. And right now, Richard Carr has 11 different SUV models to choose from with dozens of trim options. They are a one-stop shop to find that perfect SUV for your needs. And you can go to the dealership right now, check it out, talk to one of their great service members, or go online as well to find that perfect SUV for your family this summer. And if you're not looking to buy new, they're also loaded with premium pre-owned cars and trucks as well. All of them undergo a 172-point inspection before hitting the lot. So whether you're looking to buy new or pre-owned, Richard Carr has you covered. It's anniversary month, so trust the good local people you can count on. For over 23 years in Central Texas, proud Wacoans, proud Baylor Bears. Go visit them now in person or online. Log on to richardcarr.com today or go visit them off Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
Cars priced right both day and night. And Richard Car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. At Richard Car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. At Richard Car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. At Richard Car in Waco, Texas.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Baylor winning, 4 minutes to go, up 40 against Hawaii, South Dakota Sunday. 23 from Jordan Lewis. Melissa Smith has 20. Sarah Andrews, who's really kind of been a little bit banged up and had not been hitting the threes like she did during that stretch when they got red hot. She has 16, a couple of threes from her as well. Now, Baylor in North Carolina. You know, we're pretty, I'm not saying we're, right? How guilty are you, and I admit that I am, when you sometimes look at the logo rather than who is in the uniform?
People are guilty of that all the time, and I'm getting a definite vibe with that with North Carolina right now. I think if they were playing Wofford in the next round, or just any team that's not one of your top 5 programs all time, people would be a lot less stressed about this game tomorrow. I think that a lot of it has to do with, yes, some of what you watched with North Carolina yesterday, but did we also not watch Baylor? Like they were pretty okay. They were fine. So I don't know. I think it's blue blood phobia or something, along those lines, that you see that logo and you're like, oh no, it's North Carolina. And yeah, I think there's something to that.
Yeah, and look, you just heard Adam Lucas. Everybody's been concerned about Baylor's depth all year long. Well, North Carolina's got real problems.
In a blowout, they played like what? I think 7 guys? Yeah, right? Johnny Cage, huge Wildcat fan. Smokey, I'm in a nightmare I can't wake up from. UK atmosphere is very ugly. Fans calling for Coach Calipari to be fired. He's worried more about the NIL legislation, getting Porsches and money for his players and winning a championship. The entire state of Kentucky is absolutely livid and mad as hell.
Yeah, I should have thought about it earlier, but I should have listened to some Kentucky sports radio earlier today just to see what that sounded like after a loss that's, some are claiming to be the worst loss in Kentucky tournament history, and you think about how far back that goes. So yeah, I might go listen to a podcast on my travel tonight to hear some of that reaction.
I remember a few years ago, I think that might have been Billy Gillespie's swan song, but they lost in the NIT in a game on the road
why were they not hosting somebody?
Well, I mean, exactly. And I thought, man, this is a low point. And then Calipari comes in and reboots everything. And so the NIT thing, they forget. Once you win a national championship, Coach Gallagher mentioned it earlier. Look, Tony Bennett had to wash off the UMBC loss. The only way he did that was the next year he won the national championship.
Which was
the only way he could do that.
Good
and
for
so
them.
he washed it off. This is a 15-2, which is just this side of the 16-1. It's happened more often, but it's not too far away.
It's happened like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, so it's not.
There are some that are saying that this is the worst loss. And again, everyone has their own perspective because of what Baltimore, Maryland County did. But that this is worst loss in NCAA history.
Well,
and that's debatable because there's a few.
And look, you can make the argument. Look, Tony Bennett won a national championship at Virginia, and yeah, they had some good players and they had some high draft picks, but they have not for years put in what Kentucky's put into their program. I mean, that's so comparably, yeah, it's kind of maybe a little bit worse and to what's going on there. Or I mean, it's at least to me the same. And yeah, it's bad. I can only imagine. Like I think that, when the Cowboys lose in the playoffs, about probably the same thing.
Yankees don't get to the
up
playoffs.
in Lexington, yeah.
Alabama loses in football.
What's going on anytime the Lakers, touch a basketball right now?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Let's also say to hit the texter's point, Calipari's not going anywhere. I think he knows that, but that's just typical of fans to want to throw their arms up and be mad and want some change and want some something to happen. Like somebody's got to answer for this, right? Like we need a head to roll, and so Calipari's the top on the food chain, and so yeah, I'm sure there are some Kentucky fans who are like, we need to make a change or something along those lines, but most will keep their composure and realize that would be an awfully dumb move. But yeah, I mean, they're going to take a beating for a while. That's just part of the deal. It's you lose in that fashion to a team that you're not expected to lose to in the tournament this early, first round. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some blowback to that. So I'm sure, again, very interesting radio times up there and sports talk times up there. And they'll be back again and in the tournament next year. We'll probably have a bunch of NBA guys on the roster. But, yeah, this one's going to sting for a while.
Armstrong, do you have the video I sent to you of the swim meet? Do you have that? We're going to have, by the way, Coach Whalen, Ryan Whalen, who's the assistant head coach at St. Peter's, is going to join us today just after the 5 o'clock hour. Paul, he'll be calling your number, who had the part of the great win last night against Kentucky. So everyone knows there's so many different things that are out there right now. I have never been, in my life, have I ever been against anyone wanting to be who they want to be as a person, whether it is gay, transgender, or whatever. It's their life. It's my life. It's our lives, right? But this is getting to a point now where last night in the NCAA swim championships, here is a swimmer from Penn winning the first place medal.
Against that lane line. She's having a great race here, and she's going to get second. That will give her a lot of confidence. Remember, she's just a freshman.
Leah Thomas pulling away over the final 150 meters. Had to work for it. She was pushed over the first 350 meters. Thomas wins the NCAA championship. Ended up very close for second.
All right, that's Leah Thomas from Penn, who won the NCAA swimming championship, and there's the national debate. And of course, there's different sides. There's maybe more than just one or two sides. Transgender, an athlete who wins. And I'm against it. You can live whatever life you want, but when it comes to competing on a fair basis, we have players who are never going to be in baseball's Hall of Fame because of why?
Because they took synthetic testosterone.
They took steroids, right? Whatever it might have been, however they did it, whatever it was. And they have been banned basically from ever being a part of the Hall of Fame or some of the greatest players to ever play in the game. I'm not against someone's lifestyle. I will never be that way. That would be hypocritical for me. However, this seems to be growing. It's happened in Texas with some even UIL events or private schools as well. I think we can discuss this also on the YouTube, 365 Sports, and also on the text line. What say you?
Well, I just think that there needs to be a line of why did you do this? Why did Leah Thomas make this choice in her life to undergo a really intensive medical procedure and hormone therapy and all these things you have to do? Was it so you could win some swim meets or so that you could feel whole as a person? And that's what I think is the difference here. And sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice something. Okay, I don't feel whole as a person because my biology is wrong. I don't feel right. I'm doing something to make my biology feel right. That means I can't swim anymore competitively? Then that's what it means. But because this is 4 years of her life, right? So this 4 years of my life, I'm going to give up something to gain back mental peace and emotional stability for the rest of my life. I think that has to be it, instead of, well, now that I've changed, I'm the same, when we know that that's not the case. And it's not saying that it's wrong or bad, but it is different. And to acknowledge the difference is fine. To say, look, it's different. There are things. You're 6'4", 6'5". You have shoulders like Michael Phelps. None of these other women do. It's different. You were born differently. You've gone through all this. Yes, you made that sacrifice. This is one more that you have to make. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously an explosive subject, and you kind of got to walk landmines, I guess, at times, with this topic. But I think it's kind of ridiculous. I do. I have nothing against Leah Thomas, but, I mean, if you just simply look at the pictures of them lined up to race, and you see that she is like twice as tall as the people standing next to her, twice as wide as she looks like a guy racing against women. And, I don't know how all the injections and all that stuff works. I don't know. I don't know that. And I don't want to, say something like, it's to me, it's not about the choice that Leah Thomas made. It's about the fact that, it's a weird deal. I mean, it is. It's not her choice, but the fact that she's swimming against real women who were born that way and who put in as much time as they did to get their scholarships and to win these races and to compete against people like them. And they're not competing against people like them. They're competing against somebody who has an inherently built-in advantage, no matter how much testosterone's taken away or whatever. It's weird to me. I just don't I don't know how to talk about it because I don't get it.
Well, it's an oversimplification of, okay, born a man, now they want to be a woman, so they're a woman just like everybody else. Well, no. Given the fact that they had to go through this ridiculously complicated surgery and all these treatments, they're not. So accepting the fact that it's just different is okay to say it's different. And everybody has to make sacrifices. And yes, it's going to suck that you can't be a college swimmer. But if you make the choice to be happy for the rest of your life, as opposed to the 4 years where you can win medals, then I think that should be the discussion we're talking about here.
I think my biggest question is, why do we just push all of these other girls to the side and don't give one S about them because we want to just triumph the person who made the transition and won this race? I don't know. It feels like there's a segment of people that want to pop up. Was it Leah Thomas?
Yeah.
Just because she's transgender, and don't give an F about any of the girls who actually have done this the complete, normal way. And, normal's kind of probably a buzzy word here, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm referring to is that they did it naturally. Yes, naturally. That's probably the better word to use. It's unfair to them. It's totally unfair. It's not fair when in high school wrestling, there's a guy who's transitioned or is in the process of fighting a regular girl in wrestling. There is a difference there. I don't care how much testosterone's taken away. There is a difference, and I don't see how this is good for everybody involved. I don't know how you could work it to where it's good for everybody involved, but it does seem like it's much more in favor of like this one person versus the rest of the swimmers that are out there just trying to do it the natural way.
I could be wrong here, but it's almost as if we're worried about Leah and the feelings that Leah might have. What about the feelings of those who compete against
No,
her?
we worry about the smallest of feelings. Yeah. There does need to be feelings towards the minority opinion, and that's a problem that we've been faced with as a country for our entire existence, and in particular during the pandemic when we had all these riots. Like, a lot of that was about looking at the minority group of people in this country, or different groups of minority people in this country, and kind of looking in the mirror about it. So, I'm not saying don't focus on the minority, but it does feel like in this case, it's like anytime you say anything about Leah Thomas, or that it's unfair, or that it's not cool for these girls that are doing it, oh, you're anti-transgender, you're this, you're that. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's just that I don't think it's cool that we just open the gates up and just go like, no, there's nothing wrong with this. And if you say that there is, and you're somehow a terrible person. It's not that. I have nothing against this woman. It's just that on the sports landscape and college sports, yeah, I think there is something wrong with it. It's not fair.
We're joined by Ryan Whalen. He's assistant head coach at St. Peter's men's basketball program. And what a night, what a day it's been. We have shown the celebration, Coach, on the campus at St. Peter's. Thanks for your time. We do appreciate it. I can't even imagine all the media requests that have been going on throughout the last few hours. What has it been like today, and also how difficult, or has it been difficult, to focus on tomorrow?
You know what? First of all, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. You know what? Our team has battled so much all year and been so resilient all year. It's always been the next game. They've been so even keel, and I don't know if you guys caught the. I'll put celebration in quotes because, man, our guys kind of really came to the sideline because we expected to win last night. I know no one else expected us to, but it was almost like, as soon as we got to the locker room, we were on to the next game. That's just kind of the attitude that Coach Holloway has, the attitude that he's ingrained in our guys and all of us. Like I said, we're just now ready for the next obstacle in front of us.
Is that something that you had to do, knowing that you'd be at this point, to not get out over your skis and take things as they come? Because then maybe if you're ready to celebrate too hard, but when you're shoot around, you might get wide-eyed like, oh my God, we're playing Kentucky.
Yeah, you know what? I think our guys did a great job because again, you got to find that balance because you want to show the respect that the program and Coach Calipari deserve, but at the same time, we kept telling our guys that. It's funny. We kept telling our guys that we were champions and they weren't. We won our conference tournament. They didn't. It became almost like a rallying cry for our guys. We being at St. Peter's in Jersey City, a small school, small enrollment, I feel like we get overlooked a ton. And our guys have a huge chip on their shoulder. And you know what? They respected Kentucky to the utmost, but they weren't scared of them. And when Kentucky went on that run at the end of the game, our guys never blinked, and they were ready to throw that punch right back at them.
What did your cell phone look like after the game in terms of just a text message? Or I imagine everybody's was probably blowing up, and you walked into the locker room to quite a few messages from family, fans, and loved ones.
I tell you what, I had over 500 text messages. I didn't even think I knew 500 people. So my phone was going crazy. I'm still trying to catch up responding to everybody because it's been a little overwhelming. Because again, like you said, it's. The players can kind of go back to their rooms and relax, but our job is to now focus on the next opponent because, like I said, we're not satisfied with just last night. We got a lot more work left to do.
Absolutely. What has been, you mentioned a little bit about Shaheen Holloway and the message and who he is and personality, and his reaction after the win was like, hey, go shake hands, let's go, but we have much more to accomplish. What has it been like to be on be a part of this program with him?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've been with him from the start here at St. Peter's, and the way he's built this program and his image of toughness and fighting and not giving up and not backing down and let people disrespect you if they want. They're going to be the ones that pay in the end. The message has been consistent. Our guys come in every day and work their tails off, because they know he's going to work their tail off for them. So working and playing for a guy like that. It just amps you up to want to be that much better every day. And he's gotten more out of these guys than I think more people could have ever expected. And he believed in them and we all believe in him. And I think, that's where that camaraderie and that's where that, feeling of love and understanding for each other comes from.
You guys, he's from New Jersey, you're from that area. I know we talked to John Gallagher, the coach at Hartford earlier. He said to tell you hello. Your stars, you got guys from that area. How much does the being New Jersey help you guys move on, and that you're so kind of ingrained in the state, in the area that you're from?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. When we got the job, Coach Holloway and I talked, and he said there's never a reason that we should have to get on a plane to recruit anybody. Between New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, there's enough talent there that we knew, we'd be able to get guys, not necessarily the guys that were the highest rated, but guys that fit our vision and what Coach Holloway wanted in players. And we like to say that the guys we have are Jersey tough, Jersey strong. They fit that blue collar, come to work, get your work in, punch out. So Coach Holloway's really done a good job of building the roster in his image. And these guys have done a great job to responding to every challenge. Everything that we've been through, and ups and downs and highs and lows, it doesn't get any higher than it got last night. But, like I said, we got a lot more to play for. And that's the thing I love about these guys the most, is the moment's never too big.
What was it like? I'm sorry, Ryan. What was
you're good.
What was it like to be under Phil Martelli, who's now, of course, at Michigan, and obviously a coach everyone knows about?
You know what? That was great. So for me, I worked for him my junior and senior year of college, and I was very lucky. He let me be what he called a student assistant. So what I got to do is I got a head start on my college coaching career, and I got to learn from him every day for 2 years. And you're talking about a college kid who didn't know anything about responsibility, and I got to see how he worked and he prepared every day. I actually saw him today, and I gave him a big hug, and I just said thank you to him for everything, because he's one of the ones that got me started on my journey. And you can't talk about a better coach or a better human being to learn from. So I was very blessed and fortunate to be around him for those 2 years and stay in touch with him over the years.
You guys in Murray State kind of played similar games in overtime, back and forth, intense. Do you see that as any kind of, it's kind of a wash, or that you're both kind of rolling in a momentum? How do you see that?
You know what? I think, when you watch them and you watch us, it's almost like mirror image of each other's. Two, quote, mid-major programs that just play really hard, great coaches, execute their game plans, execute their awesome offense, and play tremendous defense. I think that, there's really no advantage had, because both teams played grueling games last night against very good teams. I just think, between the two head coaches, you're going to have two teams that are ready to go to war with each other tomorrow night.
What was it like today, being around the team? What business as usual?
I'll tell you what, I know this is cliche to say, but it was business as usual. Maybe there was a few more extra smiles at breakfast this morning, but we have our routine we do every day, and we came down to breakfast, and then we did a team stretch, and then we watched film, and really nothing changed. These guys do a great job of kind of turning the page. Now, I'm sure with each other, they're hooting and hollering and saying, can they believe it? But when they're with us, man, they do such a good job of just being even keel and paying attention to what we got to go to move forward.
What do you think this means to St. Peter's? And I know you want to win 5 more, and you want to have the dream of cutting down the nets, but what do you think this means to the program?
To the program, it's invaluable, right? We were the biggest name in college basketball last night. I don't even think that's up for debate. The word on everyone's mind last night, on everyone's lips, was St. Peter's University. And then you got people looking up, where's the school?
Yep.
Why does nobody talk about it? And we had talked about this when we won the MAC championship last week. Not only did we do this for ourselves, but for the school to put the school on the map, and hopefully more kids will look at it and think of it as an option. And, we're just so proud of where we came from, and, anything we can do to give back. But I'm just so happy for Coach Shaw and the team and the program as a whole, because this has been a long time coming. And, people need to know what a special place St. Peter's is.
Ryan, thank you. Congratulations. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate having me on.
You too, Ryan Whalen, assistant head coach at St. Peter's, graduate from St. Joseph's. The shocker so far of the tournament, the number 15 seed knocking out the number 2 seed in Kentucky. And a couple of it could be a double-digit seed. Notre Dame up 13 with 7 minutes, 51 seconds left against Alabama. Texas now really causing trouble for Virginia Tech, up by 7 with about 13 minutes left. And Marcus Carr and Timmy Allen are now leading Texas in the second half after Jones was big in the first half. Miami, as we mentioned, game that ended a little while ago with a 2-point win on free throws to beat USC that had a really good look at a three and went off the rim, and the Hurricanes win.
This is my worst bracket ever.
What?
This bracket right here that I've done is the worst one I've ever done. This is my double-digit seed upset to make some moves was Virginia Tech. Well,
Texas has looked good.
Yeah, Texas has looked good, especially
has created problems.
Yeah, and especially since then they hit the three-quarter court shot at the end of the half.
And that's a huge deal because you're down 2, and next thing you know, you go in, you hit the first shot, you're up 4.
But I fell for Nate Oates and Alabama and those 4 guards, but they played to kind of the level of their competition. I don't know if Notre Dame got them excited enough.
Talk about
you need to play 1 seeds or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, and I'm upset.
Join what I've been in a bracket every year but last year, right? So that's just the kind of way it is. It's 5:08. We'll update some other scores as well. Women's basketball, Baylor women roll past Hawaii 89-49, outscore Hawaii 51-20 in the second half to blow that thing wide open. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Petty Clinic, LowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be and maybe used to be. As you grow older, it's just part of life, father time. Your testosterone level can change. Not everybody, but 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone, energy, sleep habits, and also sex drive. If any of those 3 are a part of what's going on with you right now, whether you're 35 or 50, whether you're 42 or 60, it can happen. It's just part of what happens in life, and Dr. Kent Petty wants to help you out. PettyClinicLowT.com. Go online, tell him I sent you, set up an appointment, and Dr. Petty will set you up to get your blood work, your lab results, check your testosterone level, and if it is too low, he can give you a program, put you in a program to increase your testosterone level so you could become the high-performance man you used to be and want to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
Ram Truck Month is here, and it's all about the championship drive as our hometown teams march towards another exciting championship drive. And so can you in your new vehicle from Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Waco. Shop for power, performance, and reliability with the brands that bring you what you want to drive. Come in today and see our selection of new 2022 trucks, SUVs, and cars. It's time to take home the trophy from Allen Samuels in Waco. Shop the huge inventory of new car and truck inventory in stock today.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Akenjo. That one's good.
Our coverage of the NCAA tournament is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Automatic Chef and Canteen, Edward Jones Investments, IdealMRI.com, Marco's Pizza, The Niche Group, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, and the Willis Law Firm. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
A couple of things in the chat room. Lines open, by the way. We open the phone lines up to you for the next 30 minutes or so. 254-339-1122. Rich Boone, on the discussion about Leah Thomas, when I mentioned that I have nothing against anyone's lifestyle. It's not for me to judge. But the point, what I said is that I do want to draw a line when it comes to competitive fairness. And Rich Boone said, me too, smoking. I would go out on a limb and say most people are against it, but a lot of people are scared to speak out on it.
Bingo, you just nailed it. That's absolutely what it is.
Well, look, that social media army is really, I mean, look at Dave Chappelle's been dealing with because of his stand-up special for months now, because his joke was, you can kill anybody you want, but don't hurt a gay person's feelings, was his joke. Was like, look, that's what we're just trying to talk about here. Yeah. So he went through all that, and that's the issue here. We're not dealing in, we're dealing in feelings, not in reality.
Yes.
And we've got to deal in reality when it comes to this. And it's while I know considering somebody's mental health, but like, come on, like let's all get together and work on this, because
what about the girls' mental health? What about those other swimmers? What about them?
And the problem now is all of a sudden, Caitlyn Jenner's on the cover of a magazine, and we're all supposed to understand everything, and we can't ask questions. Don't ask a question. Don't ask this. You're supposed to just understand and go. Well, no, there's a lot of people most of us didn't grow up with this. So while we can be accepting and loving and understanding to people, doesn't mean that everything has to be just in a box. Like there's so many other things that have to go around. So yeah, I think it's silly to just say this. And now look, on the other side of this, if Leah Thomas is a minority, a one or two off thing, then maybe we don't need to panic about it and get upset, because, again, this is a lot to go through just to win at swimming. But if that's what was the case at all, and I'm not saying that's what she did, but it is. But again, it doesn't need to be dealt with.
If she went to become who she is, or what he was to who she is now, whether it was for swimming or not, that's not even my point. Is what is competitive balance?
Yes, it's not about the personal side. It's about the competition. Do you know who one of the most outspoken people against Leah Thomas's success is? Caitlyn freaking Jenner. Yeah. Caitlyn Jenner is. Why? Because she knows it's not fair. She knows it's not fair, and she's against this competitive imbalance. What does that tell you?
What if in 1980, Caitlyn Jenner had done this right before the Olympics and then swapped? Bruce Jenner won the decathlon, was the world's greatest athlete. How many different events could she have dominated then? I mean, just think of it that way.
Yeah, I think it's silly that everybody is scared, but that's the world that we live in now. But that's absolutely what it is you're worried about getting yelled at about, whatever your opinion is on, 5 random strangers on Twitter who could care less what your opinion is. They just want to paint you a certain way as soon as they can. I look at the picture from the podium, and that just says a lot to me. Like that speaks volumes to me about why this is not balanced, and it is not fair. And I don't know. I mean, is there a way to create like a transgender division in college sports? So, I mean, I would be fine with that.
But again, here's the thing. Are there enough people who would do that to where it would be competitive? Because I think that's the other thing that we're seeing here is like, look, this is a very, very small piece of the population. And so to create something else for them, then they maybe get mad because that's separate and all this, but there's not enough. So that's why they're trying to get in.
They may get mad. Okay.
Yeah. But so then you're kind of back to square one. That's my point. But are you creating something that there can even be enough people to have a competitive, could you have a transgendered swimming competition where you have 4 people in it?
If I don't know this, and I hope this is not taken wrong. I'm so freaking tired of having this, maybe say that before I want to say what I want to say. I have an opinion too. If Leah Thomas had been told that he or she would not be able to compete as a swimmer in the NCAAs as a transgender, my question is, what decision would she have made? And if the answer would have been, you can do whatever you want, and that is the right of a human being, but you're not going to be able to compete in the NCAA, make that person have to be the one that fights through it. Not the ones who are doing what they've been doing because they're competing, because they're women, not against somebody who used to be and still has possibility of being a man. From John Joe, NCAA abdicated its role like it always does, punted to the United States governing body instead of saying, hey, this is our rule. You can compete, but it has to be like this, period.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I can tell based on social media, the wide majority of people are not in agreement with this. They're absolutely, based on just what little I've gone through, and this is not something I sit here and give a lot of thought to, or really even probably the way I'm reacting to it now is far stronger than I actually really even sit here and feel about it. But I don't think it's right. I'm not for somebody not being able to live out dreams and be able to compete in sports that they want to compete in, but at the for the sake of others that are, competing, we just brush them to the side. Like what girl didn't win a national championship because she had to go against Leah Thomas, right?
Okay.
Screw her.
You know who?
Sure.
You know one of the people in sports history people are maddest at is Danny Almonte. Who's Danny Almonte? He was a little leaguer who was 16 years old playing with 13-year-old kids.
I remember that,
okay?
Yeah.
Why can't Danny Almonte play with 13-year-old kids? Because he's 16. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's faster. That's why Little League is not just whenever you feel like quitting. It's when you age out. When it's different. It's okay to be different and sometimes not to have it's over. That's it. That's it. It's over.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's one of those things, like you said, where people want to talk about it. People want to say what they want to say about it. And they're afraid to because their message is going to get taken right from the outset and painted to be a certain way to where you are anti-trans or you're anti-gay or you're anti-this, when all your point is you just don't think that Leah Thomas should be competing against
why
naturally
can't I just
born
say
women.
That? Yeah, why can't
And that's really all it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's not. I don't want Leah Thomas to go to jail or be sent to the gulag or anything like that. Want you to have freedoms and be able to do a lot of what you want to. I just don't think that you should be competing and winning national championships against girls. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair to them. But again, we don't care about them. We just want to make a statement on trans. So let's prop up Leah Thomas and make this out like it's the greatest thing in the world when a large majority of people do not think that way.
All of us have, no matter who we are and how privileged we are, there are certain things that we're not allowed to do in life. Minor things that other people are. And this is probably your thing, transgendered folks, is that when you make this choice, your competitive sports are over. Okay? Now, some of it's worse for people than others, but bottom line is it's a sacrifice you should have to make.
From another text line.
You know who else came out against Leah Thomas? Martina Navratilova.
Oh, Billie Jean King's against her.
Billie Jean King. Yeah. Martina Navratilova. Caitlyn Jenner. I mean.
From John Joe, not a good rule to allow Thomas to compete against biological females. Can't believe Title IX stalwarts aren't jumping on this yet.
Well, I think they are. I think the problem is that the voice from the very vocal minority of people who are angry about Leah Thomas being denied whatever opportunity she would have been denied had she not been allowed to is so much louder and scarier to the powers that be that they just back off.
Yeah, I use this example a lot, and I forget where I first heard it, but, people cave to social media pressure, and one thing to always keep in mind, if you got 500 tweets that are yelling at you, is it 100 people sending you 5 tweets, or is it 5 people sending you 100 tweets?
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like we're caving to 5 people sending 100 tweets each and pretending like it's 5,000 people all saying this, when really it's not.
And by the way, who gives a damn about somebody tweets you or not, right? And we allow that to be the government.
Yeah.
From Bob, with you, Craig. From Marshall, if this to all women's sports, then women's sports will become completely irrelevant, and that's a shame. And if this spreads, I meant to say what I said. That's from Marshall on the chat room.
Yeah, and don't let anybody who tells you that you don't agree with Leah Thomas being able to compete against women tell you that you're anti-trans or anti-gay or anti-anything. No, you're just anti-Leah Thomas competing unfairly against other women. That's what you are.
Yeah.
That's all.
254-339-1122. Texas has popped it open against Virginia Tech, up 15. Is that right, Paul? Up 15, and they have – you wonder if they didn't read some of those headlines throughout the last few days because they have been so erratic at times, although still a top 15 or 20 team, and dangerous is what we've heard. And
not one single good game today, by the way, outside of USC and Miami.
No, you're right.
And I say one single game. The one game.
This is not an upset if Texas is to hold on to win the game because they're a 6 seed, but I think more people had Virginia Tech moving on than they had the number 6 seed. And also Alabama is cruising. Notre Dame, is cruising by Alabama. So we had popped the Big Ten yesterday because of maybe a couple of teams that lost that shouldn't have. They're about to take down the bipolar revolt with Alabama, 76-62. Alabama, remember, they beat Gonzaga, they beat Baylor, they beat a lot of people. And they're about to go out.
I'm just going to give an update on my bracket. I'm at 58%.
Of the picking the games?
Yeah, 58%. If you're at 58% on your cell phone, you're fine for a little bit, but you're starting to think about where
danger zone.
That's starting to think about where the charger is.
Wait, are you you've gotten 58% right or
yes.
58th percentile?
I'm 58th percentile.
Okay. That's not bad.
And that's pretty bad.
Better than half.
Paul?
Better than half.
What's my percentile? 58%.
You are?
Yep.
I'm 91.
But see,
what? Nobody asked you, Armstrong.
91.6, actually.
You sit over there. Faith, just slap him, please.
You sit over there with your little...
And you're the guys that are the ones talking with the mics. Yet I'm the one with 91.6%.
Then how are we... Whoa. Hey, I cannot disagree with you.
No,
I would have told you before.
I had Kentucky in my Final Four, so
then you're dead. And so did I.
I'm dead.
But the bottom line is I could have told you before. I just suck at this. I have always, last year was one of the few times, and it was weird because of the bubble. I had a really, really good run. All the way to the end. But this year.
I watched a little bit less college basketball this year than I did last year, outside of everything. And it's clearly hurt me. Although last year I didn't. Last year I had Baylor and Gonzaga in the final and Baylor winning. So, I was right. But
yeah, I had Kentucky.
Outside of that, I don't want to. I can't remember a comment. But
there's one region where I'm doing okay, but that's the exception to the rule. 5:26 is the time. Chat room going 254-339-1122. From John Cortez, they say that
she.
I'm just reading the text. Slowing down to look like he had some competition, and John said that's wrong.
I don't think that was what was going on.
It was a fairly competitive race, but if that's the case, I didn't hear much of that.
It doesn't take long to dig and find a girl who lost her spot, a teammate of hers crying on a bus because she lost her spot to Leah Thomas. It doesn't take long to find a lot of other objections to it, but again, that'll get drowned out by like the 4 people who want to just keep tweeting, how anti everything you are.
To them, they're just victims, the necessary victims in a brave struggle.
Yeah,
they're the steps that Leah Thomas had to climb up on. Well, why is this person's mental health more important than this person's? If you're for equality, then... Well, there you go. It's a great way to look at it. By the way, a couple of notes. We're going to hear from Adam Flagler and also Scott Drew, James Akinjo from earlier today in the media session. Baylor, North Carolina, 11:10. Let me kind of reset. That's 11:10 tip. We will be at Railhead Smokehouse Barbecue again tomorrow, 9:30 pregame. They're not open until 11 o'clock, but the owner, Charlie Guerin's going to help us get in and set up. We'll do the pregame show. Then Ashley Hodge, Armstrong Sims, and others will have the postgame show following Baylor in North Carolina tomorrow. And that is Railhead Smokehouse Barbecue on Montgomery Street. Can't wait to be there. By the end of the day, almost everyone behind us, am I right, was a Baylor fan at Railhead, and Charlie said he had great feedback as well, so we appreciate them, and so we'll be back there again tomorrow. When we come back, Scott Drew on North Carolina and their bigs, their height inside, Adam Flagler, James Akinjo, much more. Also update you on the Baylor women's basketball team rolling after their first-round win against Hawaii. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. It's too late for this week. But every week while live crawfish season is, available, you can order live crawfish sacks, 30 pounds of live crawfish for $3.75 this week. It was at $1.450, so the price has gone down. Orders must be placed for live crawfish every week by 6 o'clock on Wednesday, and then you could pick it up anytime after 4 o'clock on Friday or throughout the day tomorrow. So those who turned in their orders, called in sometime on Wednesday of this week, picked it up today, and or they could pick it up all throughout the day tomorrow. Plus, full-fledged bakery and butcher shop, the Bauer family, Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. 9 years ago today, I weighed 277.5 pounds with nearly 50% body fat. I was terribly out of shape, felt miserable, and struggled walking up a flight of stairs. Every morning I'd wake up, wonder if my pants would fit, or were my XXX shirts large enough. 9 years ago today, I was introduced to Christy London at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, and somehow, as a personal trainer, she took on the challenge of training me. I'd been through this before, fat blockers, whatever else was on the market, lose a little weight, and 6 weeks later, I would quit. Today, I weigh 190 pounds. I have, give or take a pound or two, remained well under 200 pounds for 4 or 5 years. And because of almost every single morning run or workout, my diet is better because it has to be. I want it to be, and it is. Christy once told me you cannot out-exercise your diet. And a 5-mile run this morning compared to huffing and puffing to walk a block is quite the change. If you are where I was 9 years ago, if you've all but given up on losing any amount of weight, if you've all but given up on ever being in shape or fit again, regardless of your age, don't. Join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness and change your mindset. They have state-of-the-art exercise equipment, free weights, numerous classes, amazing amenities to help you, and personal trainers including Randall, Alex, and Christy. Plus a tremendous tennis program for youth and adult, and 8 pickleball courts, and how much that sport has exploded. Reach inside your competitive soul. Start today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I've seen people walk in there. First of all, you have so much to show. Whether necklaces, bracelets, rings. You have the watches. You have numerous great watches as well. You really have pretty much everything, don't you, when it comes to jewelry?
That's correct. Kind of a one-stop shop and all. And the fact that we have the 2 jewelers on staff, the repairs we can do, the fixing of your jewelry, and the remaking of any jewelry has really set us apart from anybody else.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit Marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Stephen Snook on the chat room. Effects playing in Dayton 2 nights ago, flying to San Diego and beat Alabama handily. Impressive.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Stephen. All right, phone lines are open. Paul's top 5 coming up at the top of the hour. It's 5:35. Armstrong is here. Faith is here. And Craig Smoak to my right. Paul Catalina to my left. And this is Sikkim 365.
We got a couple of phone calls. I got to tell you this, but this Virginia Tech has never done one thing in my life to make me happy. I mean, not that they care about me. I'm just telling you that I shouldn't trust them anymore.
Wait a minute. They played poorly enough where Florida State beat them for a national title in 1999. Am I wrong?
P-Dub and the boys took it to them. But they've never, I don't know, hokey pokey.
So this is going to ruin your bracket, or your bracket's already ruined?
They just beat Duke to win the ACC championship, so that...
They beat North Carolina in like the quarter. They beat Duke.
But they beat
Don't
Duke.
forget the North Carolina game, Armstrong. I know that's selective memory. Or something
Very selective.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the lines. Appreciate your time. The chat room continues to go. Bob Kramer's a big Armstrong fan. Give him a seat at the table.
No.
That gets dangerous. Paul?
Howard in Oregon, thanks for holding. You're on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you again. Hey, I've been reading your chat thing over there, and these Kentucky fans have been some of them, not all of them, have been crying for Calipari to leave. You know, I got to remind them of some history from my school, Arizona. Okay, we were favored over Eastern Tennessee State, lost in the first round. We were favored over Pepperdine with Steve Nash. Steve Nash, NBA probably Hall of Famer, lost in the first round. Just a couple years ago, we were favored over Buffalo with Ayton. We had a great team, lost in the first round. None of those coaches, Olsen or Miller, were fired over those losses. And a favorite loss of mine, Paul, you're going to hate me for this one, is the Oregon mashing of Florida State in the first playoff game of the football thing. I mean, everybody picked Florida State. They'd won, like 17 games in a row, and Mariota
27.
went in there and just demolished them. So what I'm saying is that stuff happens. How's that? Now, the swimming thing, I think that's going to just totally eliminate women's sports, because what's going to happen is you're going to get guys that can't win in the men's bracket. Let's just take swimming, for example. You're going to get guys that can't win in the men's bracket in swimming, and they're all going to say they're women. So you're going to end up with swimming meets with what is biologically all guys.
Well, I want to stop you first.
I'm going to stop you.
You can't just say you're a woman.
No, that's
you
not
got to
what,
go through a process.
That's not what Leah Thomas did. Leah Thomas, to her credit, went through every surgery and hormone therapy.
Yeah.
The difference is that before Leah Thomas was Leah Thomas, she was 6'5", muscular and tall, and that's not what everybody else is. So it's not this identify and changing your pronoun. To actually compete, you have to go through medical processes. So it's not saying that. You have to do it. The problem is that even if you do it, it's not like it reverts history completely.
Yeah, it's what it's going to do, I think, in a lot of realms is going to, not just sports, but I think sports it's really obvious. I think it's going to diminish or abolish a lot of the things that women have worked hard to attain over the years, because you're going to be competing basically against biological men. That's my point.
Yeah. No, that's a different point than the original one. Howard, appreciate the call. And you're right about Calipari in Kentucky, but he does make $9 million. He understands the standard more than anybody else, and no one's probably felt like you have that feeling on your face when you know you're in trouble, you've done something wrong in your face, or it's not going well, and you get that face where you're warm, it's hot. He probably, I don't know if he slept last night. Maybe he slept well because he makes $9 million a year. I know he's an easy hit because he always seems to be an easy hit. He's a hell of a coach. It's a little bit of a different team. I was on a Kentucky message board last night. I can't remember who sent this, and it was on Twitter, so I got on it. And yeah, most of it was about how he's not an X and O's guys. But the future of Kentucky basketball, the recruiting of it, although it's changed with the transfer portal, does still look really, really good, depending on who they retain coming off this year's team that flamed out in that game against St. Peter's.
Yeah, and I think that's just a typical reaction. After a tough loss, people are going to be upset. Imagine probably a few beers in, and they're going to hop on the message board and, post whatever they're feeling at the time, and probably a few of them waking up this morning and wanting to go delete that or maybe feeling a little bit differently about it. So, I think sometimes just taking social media or a message board at face value, it doesn't really speak for the whole fan base. There's a lot of level-headed Kentucky fans that know that would be a moronic idea to try and change coaches because of this one game. But, there's others who I'm sure there are some that still believe today that are still upset that they believe that he should be fired or whatever as a result of that loss. But they'll be fine. It's embarrassing. It's a tough pill to swallow and all that jazz. But yeah, that's part of the gig. You got to live with it until next year, and then go out and go try to win a national championship.
That line is open at 254-339-1122. Mentioned Baylor, the women, 89-49 over Hawaii. And now Sunday they'll play South Dakota, who today beat the number 7 seed Ole Miss.
All right, let's go to Steven in Virginia. Steven, thanks for your call.
Hey, guys. I'm sorry about your bracket, Paul, but for Baylor, this thing kind of looks like it's opening up. the teams that I was fearing the most, UCLA and Kentucky. Kentucky primarily lost, and then UCLA didn't look particularly good against Akron. I think it's a whole lot easier for Baylor to make a Final Four if the toughest game they're going to play is either North Carolina, which is a tough second-round opponent, UCLA, or making it through UCLA and getting an Elite Eight game with possibly the University of Texas. I just don't believe Purdue's defense is good enough to make it through. No national champion has had worse than a 21st ranked overall defense. Purdue's like in the 90s. That 21st team was last year's Baylor team. So I'm just wondering what y'all think. This looks like it might be shaken out in a way where last year they ran that through what was in front of them because they could. But this year, it looks like it might have actually set up quite nicely for them.
Well,
so I want to hear what y'all have to say.
Before whatever happens on the bottom part of that bracket gets in Baylor's on their radar, not that it's not because of the same region, they have North Carolina tomorrow, and then they have the winner between UCLA and St. Mary's. And believe me, that could be one hell of a game. And whoever survives there, whoever survives Baylor, that's going to be a great game on the top part of the bracket. But I see what you're saying. Purdue does score a bunch, but you know who also was scoring a lot? Iowa. And look what happened to them. Texas is winning by 10 or 12 now with 3 minutes or so left against Virginia Tech. In many ways, Virginia Tech was the favorite, despite being an 11 seed. And so I'm going to say Texas is good because they're in the Big 12. That's why they're good. And so maybe some of these teams are about to play. A lot of it has to do with the fact Texas Tech won by 35 today. Not everybody did. Baylor won, right? Now we'll see what Iowa State does and a couple of others, but the Big 12 looks pretty good so far today and throughout the first day and a half of the tournament.
Yeah, they really do. And look, I think if you're Baylor and if you want to run up against one more Big 12 school, I would say Texas because they match up really well with them. They beat them handily twice. So
did the women.
Yeah.
But my point is, usually if you win the first two, you always hear about, you don't want to, no, the third time the team that won the first two also wins the third one. No, the stats are, everyone thinks, well, it's hard to beat a team twice and then beat it. No, the stats actually show that whoever wins the first one, about 50-60% of the time, 55 or 60% of the time, they're going to win the third one as well.
And look, there's a good chance that TCU and Kansas are going to play each other again next week, which I'm sure neither of them, based on the last week of the season, really want to see each other again. But yeah, it could happen, but I do just think the matchups there, and to Steven's point, though, it is right. Like, getting Kentucky out of this thing opens it up quite a bit for everybody. Yeah, not just Baylor, but for everybody.
By the way, one note about the Notre Dame's win today against Alabama, they get Texas Tech. So Alabama, who's like this, there's a lot of teams like this. Kentucky was like the up-and-down roller coaster. North Carolina can be that way. Alabama, we know, has been that way.
I have Tech in the Final Four. I have them beating Gonzaga. But, I mean, don't take my word for it. I don't know anything about basketball.
No, not according to your bracket. And then I've never really known much about basketball as well. 5:45 is the time. Deshaun Watson today, if you weren't here when we discussed it, Deshaun Watson is now a member of the Cleveland Browns. 3 first-round picks, Craig, is that correct? 3 consecutive years that Houston will get a first-round pick from Cleveland. And there's also some other change in there. The 5th-round pick in Deshaun Watson. What they made the trade for was the 5th-round pick, Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he gets an extra $80 million over what he was already going to get paid. And it's, if you're in New Orleans, you're in Atlanta, Carolina kind of felt like maybe, and if you went to bed last night, Cleveland fans probably thought that wasn't going to happen. You wake up today, my goodness.
And you wake up and the grand jury excused him. I can be okay with this. It's always going to feel weird to me. This is such a weird story to talk about. Like Craig was saying earlier, it's just always going to feel weird. Like 22 cases. So say 19 of them are lying. Well, it's still 3. Say 21 of them are lying. No, it's still 1.
It's almost like when you hear numbers about any kind of scandal.
Which is not the case.
Did y'all see who congratulated Deshaun Watson on Twitter?
Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer, of all people. That just makes it so gross. That to me, like I said, I mean, I don't want to take away from the fun of it because it's in general, the Deshaun Watson trade's fascinating and all of that. But just when Trevor Bauer's out there celebrating this, it just makes it feel really disgusting. And I know, well, what about? And well, what about? There's been a lot of other stories. We've talked about Big Ben for a decade plus and what he happened. Kobe Bryant, let's not forget that, although we've pretended to now. I mean, there's been countless examples, and it just does feel weird. And I'm sure Deshaun Watson, like in those cases, it'll probably just move on after he throws a few touchdown passes in Cleveland. But just the whole situation from a couple of weeks ago to where we were to now where we are now, it's odd, but it's not new. I mean, this is kind of how sports fans are.
The way I would feel about Trevor Bauer coming out and supporting me would be the same way if I was a political candidate and I gave a speech and then David Duke tweeted like, hey, man, good point.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what did I say?
Yeah. Trevor Bauer may be bitter or upset or angry over whatever has been said to him or about him, and I get that. But what I'm saying, there's a time and a place for certain things, right? There just is.
Well, that felt like dunking on the victims almost in a way, and that was just so unnecessary. And it's just all bizarre. It's got a bizarre twist to it. But Deshaun Watson, I'm sure there's already some Cleveland fans who have ordered jerseys. And look, if he's innocent, then hey, go play football and all of that. And even if he's not, he'll probably still get to go play football because we just referred to a couple of instances where guys probably weren't based on what we knew at the time. But yeah, regardless, I mean, the courts ruled the way they rule. He's got these other lawsuits, and the NFL is going to have a decision to make on a suspension. But outside of that, I mean, it's a massive move, and it's been one hell of an NFL offseason, that's for sure.
We're on our way back yesterday after the Baylor game and then our show, and the Davante Adams story pops that the Packers have traded him to the Raiders. And the first thing I thought about was, what about Aaron Rodgers? Well, apparently he knew that was very much going to happen. So the Raiders get Davante Adams, and he's now on average $28.5 million per year as a receiver. Juju Schuster is headed to Kansas City. The Chiefs get another weapon.
All right, I'm going to give you a stat on Davante Adams right now, and think about what's about to happen to Derek Carr, how much his life has gotten better. This is from Matt Harmon from Yahoo, who's one of their football stat breaker downer guys.
Okay, I love it. There's so many now on there are just great.
Davante Adams' 2021 double covered rate was the highest I've ever charted. That's Matt Harmon. Over the last 8 years doing #reception perception. He still posted a 98th percentile success rate versus man coverage and 99th against press. And what was the beef that Aaron Rodgers had? It was Davante Adams and then a bunch of guys from the low rounds or undrafted free agents. Now he's stepping into a lineup that has Darren Waller, one of the most athletic and exciting tight ends in the league, and Hunter Renfrow, maybe the best slot receiver in the league and possession guy right now, who's
Cooper Kupp?
legit. Well, okay. Hunter Renfrow, the best in the AFC.
Okay.
I forgot about Cooper Kupp, but Hunter Renfrow, who right in line with Cooper Kupp, like his career track right now. Derek Carr, I mean, look, if you're the Raiders, you could try and go out and get a better quarterback, but Derek Carr's in the top 15 quarterbacks in the league. If you give him all the weapons in the world and take away his excuses, then
and they weren't bad last year.
No.
They weren't bad. Baylor, by the way, their games, the first 3 games tomorrow in the NCAA tournament, Baylor 11-10 against North Carolina, Kansas after that against Creighton, both in Fort Worth, and then at 4:15, Michigan, Tennessee, all will be on CBS. Richmond, Providence will be on TNT, St. Mary's and UCLA on TBS, and then CBS comes back a little bit later in the evening with St. Peter's and Murray State. Open up how that sometimes the bracket opens up for the underdogs too. And then New Mexico State, Arkansas, TNT, and then TBS at the end of the night, Memphis and Gonzaga. When we come back, Paul Catalina, Texas, by the way, up 9 with 1:14 to go, or is it still 12? 12. Texas is up 12 with 1:14 to go. They're going to move on to the next round against Purdue. Paul's top 5 to close out the week next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, new cars and also pre-owned cars are coming daily on the lot. Of course, a lot of places, and even at times the dealership has struggled with that just because of the way things are in the car business. But Ted Teague, the general manager, and Alan Samuels have made sure that you have plenty of options, whether you want a car, truck, or SUV, including the 2022 Ram 1500 Lone Star, the Quad Cab, with total values of $8,500. Or get $3,000 in bonus cash and 2.9% for 72 months. First responders for this vehicle, $500 extra cash. And also $500 extra cash on the 2022 Wagoneer Series 2 and 3 that also has 2.9% for 72 months, plus a bonus cash total of $1,500. It's Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injuries, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
Top 5 things we learned yesterday in March Madness. Number 5. Doug Edert is more Jersey than the boss. Doug Edert has a mustache, and he won for St. Peter's, which is in Jersey City, New Jersey. Doug Edert is more Jersey than exposed chest hair. Doug Edert is more Jersey than The Sopranos. He's more Jersey than a guy in a Bon Jovi T-shirt skiing in his jeans. They love him. They love him. I loved it. This is a compliment to him. He is New Jersey all the way through. It's a compliment.
Okay.
He's so New Jersey, he's never pumped his own gas.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge. I mean, good for him. One of those, I guess, I was talking about earlier, one of those guys who's kind of a name that we learn now and becomes a March Madness star. And, yeah, I mean, I could care less about, I'm so not New Jersey that, it doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But for the people up there, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Number 4, hot streaks in the conference tourney mean something. Richmond wouldn't have been in without 4 wins in the A-10 tournament. And then they come out and beat Iowa, a team fresh off winning their conference tournament. So they do mean something. And maybe it didn't mean for Iowa, but for Richmond.
Because Iowa was hot too, weren't they?
Yeah, but they do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I think for Richmond, it certainly meant something, getting on that roll.
You just don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's something to be said for being on a hot streak. Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't mean everything like you said because you just pointed out an example of it. But yeah, Richmond was playing like a hot team, and that's why I'm sure there were a bunch of people that probably had them, pegged as a potential upset type of a pick. I mean, that's one way to analyze those. Is you don't take the team that got in the play-in game, but had lost like 5 of their last, or that snuck into it basically, and then expect them to go beat a top seed. But a team like Richmond, who's playing really well, coming into the tournament, yeah, that's a good candidate. And sure enough, if you did pick that one, then you got a big one on your bracket.
Yeah. Number 3, Remy Martin is getting confident. He's a guy who didn't play a lot, but the last 2 games, he's scoring some points. And look, I know that's a 16 and 116 matchup, but getting out there, scoring, adding that element that Kansas has not had for the majority of the year, that's the reason they brought him in. And in the tournament, it's not necessarily about what you did all year. It's about how hot you are right now and the guys who can contribute. If Remy Martin can kind of come out of nowhere, and this is what they expected when he transferred in, this is what they wanted from Remy Martin, was to give them these kind of minutes and points. If Kansas can get this, to me, they're the most dangerous team in the tournament because this is what they wanted to have in November. They haven't gotten it until now, but guess what? It doesn't matter if they hoist the trophy later. But Remy Martin getting out there, getting loose is huge for the Jayhawks.
Such a long grind. It is such a long grind. Teams take on different personalities. Some guy that may not have been playing, like, for example, UT with today, a bunch of guys got their confidence back today. Now they feel like they can do anything, and that's a good thing. No matter who your team might be, he is very dangerous. I kept waiting. Everyone kept waiting. Hell, Bill Self kept waiting, and now he's starting to show what everyone was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we're finally talking about him for a valid reason rather than just speculating about him and what he can do and all that. Like, okay, we're actually talking about him for playing basketball. Great, that's fantastic. But yeah, he's a really good player. Kansas is a fantastic team and wouldn't surprise me at all. I know some basketball diehards might scoff, but, if Kansas were to cut the nets, I wouldn't be shocked by that. So, yeah, if they do, though, he'll play a massive role, obviously.
Yeah. Number 2, it's rough to be from the Mountain West. 0-4 yesterday. 0-4.
Yeah,
Mountain West.
I haven't really kept up with the totals. Like I'm sure we'll see, at the end of every day, we'll see somebody who's keeping track of like this many teams from each conference is remaining. I hadn't paid attention to that just yet, other than just realizing the Big 12 was off to a pretty good start. But that sucks for them. I mean, it stinks if you're a Mountain West fan of one of those 4 programs or just somebody who is rooting for the conference to cause a little chaos in general. Yeah, that getting wiped out in the first round. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow.
And number 1. Don't let your kids cry at games unless you want them to be a meme. Yeah. And yes, Internet, I am going to make fun of a child here. Oh, I don't mind. I'm maybe making fun of his parents. This is maybe a good opportunity to tell your kids that it's just a game. There's going to be another one on November 11th of next year that he'll get to start a new season, and the hope shines eternal. He's young. His life's not over. They're Kentucky. They spend $9 million GD dollars a year on their coach. Things will shine. The sun will shine in Lexington, Kentucky again. Don't worry. It's not worth crying over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get too, I guess, not up in arms is too strong a term, but, when it's little kids, I can kind of get it because I know when I was a little kid, your team winning meant everything. And so for them to lose a big game, that was always like kind of a tough pill to swallow. How about, rewinding a couple weeks? Don't let your college students cry at games unless you don't want them to be a meme because, man, the Duke fans were far more embarrassing than any little kid at March Madness crying.
Yes. That's very true. That is very true. Don't cry. Let's take it out. Don't cry at games. Don't cry. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Unless you're an actual player and your career is over and that's like a moment in your life or you've won and that's a goal you've achieved, don't cry. If you're a fan, if you bought a ticket and a shirt, you can't cry. You have no permission to cry. You're not that invested. You're not. It's not worth crying.
Well, they're kids.
Even if you're a kid.
Kids don't know.
They do if you tell them.
They're kids.
I mean,
that's why they're kids. They don't. All right.
Not worth it, Billy. Be a man.
Texas
that's my advice.
Wrapped up their win.
You're going to make a great father.
Yeah. He's got 3. 81-73. Texas beats Virginia Tech to move into the next round against Purdue. Faith, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Also, Armstrong Sims as well. Tomorrow, 9:30 live at Railhead Smokehouse Barbecue, Montgomery Street in Fort Worth. We'll be there for a pregame show for about an hour. Baylor tips at just after 11 against North Carolina. And then we'll have postgame as well from the same location at Railhead Smokehouse Barbecue. For Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, all of you on the chat room, phone lines, text, all that stuff. We appreciate it. And, of course, our incredible sponsors, including those who bring you our March Madness coverage. Baylor women win by 40. They'll play Sunday against South Dakota State. Sikkim, 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Good night. Have a great weekend.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.